Send brother link. Tell him to come up here and defend himself. I mean, he can't. He needs about 3 weeks to make a 5-minute video. So we know he can't defend this shit in real time.
Yeah, we back. We back. Now, today's video is going to be a follow-up video to one I dropped a few days ago entitled Black Trump Supporter Enraged at Ibrahim Traore's Leadership. Now, the man of the hour, the man in question, decided to make a response video back towards your boy. Now, I wasn't trying to go for the back and forth. I said what I had to say, and that was that. Drop the classic on your head top. You feel me? 10,000 views in like 4 days. But listen, he decided to respond to me. So, it's Sunday afternoon. I ain't doing shit. I'm in the studio making videos. Let's get into it, man. Run the footage. I'm gonna come in and out of my commentary.
Let me get that out first. How the hell are you comfortably living in America under democracy where you could say what you want? Do what you want. You get to choose your leadership. And if you disagree with somebody, you guys go make that decision, settle that in the ballot box.
All right, we back. Now, a common piece of rhetoric that you hear from these so-called conservatives, these so-called Trump supporters, whenever you levy any criticism against the West or against the system, quote unquote, they always tell you, well, why are you living here? Why are you over here? Why are you enjoying the fruits of our labor? The country we built. Why are you over here? Meanwhile, you got white supremacists. You got European white supremacists living in Africa, having a good old time, enjoying the cheap cost of living, enjoying the return on investment, the beautiful climate, the beautiful women. But nobody tells them, how could you be against African people, but you live in Africa? You traveling all over our countries. You doing your thing. You getting money. You dealing with our women. Nobody tells the white boy in Africa, you got European white supremacist descendants who have been living in South Africa for generations upon generations, but nobody tells them you live on the African continent. How could you be against African people? But meanwhile, if you are a black man living in the West, you are born in the West, you getting money in the West, you have to capitulate and bow down and show respect and show humility towards the European system. Man, stop it, bro. Stop it. Stop it. Because y'all don't say that shit when the white man be stomping through Africa. No, you let him do whatever the fuck he want to do. You don't tell the white boy he got to show humility and be respectful. But meanwhile, the black man got to show respect and show humility. Man, fuck you in the Republican Party. For example, you got French billionaire capitalist Vincent Bolloré. Take a look up on the screen. Meet French billionaire Vincent Bolloré bidding $2.5 billion to acquire Africa's MultiChoice. Now, I believe this man right here, he has a lot of economic interest in Africa, but guess what? He's a right-wing European French white supremacist, and I guarantee his political views align with the empowerment of European men, women, and children, but he gets money in Africa. But I don't see anybody telling him or men like him that he must be patriotic and respectful and show humility towards African people. Nigga, he's like, nigga, I'm getting money. Fuck African people. I'm worried about the French people. That's his mentality. So how dare you speak to a black man and say you got to show humility because he so happens to get money in the West? Fuck out of here. Fuck the Republican Party and nigga, fuck Donald Trump, nigga. Now, in that same section of the video, he began to brag about Western style democracy and things like that. Americans have the right to vote in their leadership. But we all know that leadership is decided by way more things than what you choose at the ballot box, okay? You got to take into account campaign financing by elite oligarchs, political endorsements, corporate interests, media support, etc., etc. There's way more hands in the pot than simply going to the ballot box, my boy. You got to take into account the oligarch elite interests, the corporate interests, the foreign interests. This nonsense that it's all decided by what you choose at the ballot box is bullshit. And you the same one always crying about how the so-called Democrats stole the election. Nigga, fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? So what are niggas talking about? You the same one talking about how the democratic system didn't work 4 years ago because Trump lost the election. So stop it, man. Stop it. And contrary to popular belief, I'm not against the idea of the citizens choosing their leadership. But what I'm about is respecting the sovereignty of African nations. I understand that when you look at our history as a people, different societies decided to govern themselves in different ways. You had certain societies that geared more towards democracy. You had other societies that decided to do things in a different way. But what I'm about is respecting the sovereignty of African nations and not imposing my beliefs on them as somebody from the West. Not having this feeling of superiority over those on the African continent by imposing my customs, my beliefs, my way of doing things onto their culture because I deem mine superior. I don't do that. That's the Western way of doing things. Imposing your culture, your beliefs, your ways of doing things onto foreign cultures because you believe what you do is best. So no, I'm not against the idea of Burkina Faso holding democratic elections if they deem that they want to do that. But I'm also not against the idea of a roundtable of elders, civil society leaders, traditional leaders deciding to come together in the capital to vote on the extension of Ibrahim Traore's term. If they want to do it that way, I respect that as well. And I'm willing to come back after 5 years to examine his report card, to examine his legacy, to examine the work that he did over those 5 years. That's what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to give him time and power to put things in place to see what he does. That's what I'm about. I'm about respecting the sovereignty of African nations. That's what I'm about. Anyways, let's continue.
It's a lie. He's a dictator who genocides whoever doesn't agree with him. And that's par for the course in Africa. But
all right, we back. Now, as you can see, he's still parroting the company lines put out by the Western media, saying that Ibrahim Traore is a dictator genociding the citizens of Burkina Faso. Now, keep in mind that report was put out by the Human Rights Watch organization based in New York City, and the head of that organization is a woman that is Singaporean, raised in Australia, went to school in Great Britain, but he's taking her word as the gospel. It is what it is, like I said, the black conservative hustle. And keep in mind, this is the same guy crying and bitching and complaining because so-called Donald Trump was convicted on 34 counts of whatever the fuck. Saying that the so-called mainstream corporate media, they're coming after my man Trump. They're attacking my man Trump. But they're not attacking Ibrahim Traore, they're attacking Trump. They're attacking Trump. Yeah, all right. Let's run the footage. Man, we out.
And they're not attacking Donald Trump's former presidency because they can't, right? They can't. So what they do is they're attacking his assets. They're attacking his assets, and they're attacking his reputation and his character. See, when someone becomes like a figure that is very powerful and people gravitate to a person, the enemy always is going to try to engage in character assassination because they understand that the people involved already have a grave distrust of their administration. So they have to make you trust the person.
Listen, man, like I told him in the last video, you got to pick an ideology and stick to it. If the Western media is not credible, if they have certain hidden agendas and covert interests, then stick to that ideology. If you believe the Western media is credible and is telling the truth at all times, then stick to the ideology. We're not doing this picking and choosing. You see, when they talking about Trump, they telling lies. When they talking about Ibrahim Traore, they telling facts. Listen, man, pick an ideology and stick to that shit, man. Let's continue.
I remember this guy named Mobutu. Ain't funny how Negroes will talk shit about democratic elections, but act like they down with people like Patrice Lumumba, who was the democratically elected president of Congo and got slaughtered by a Negro just like Ibrahim Traore.
All right, we back. Now, bro, I promise you don't want to do this with me, right? You don't want to do this shit with me. So in this section of the video, he attempts to use Patrice Lumumba as a model of democracy and then compares Ibrahim Traore to the man who overthrew him in a military coup, right? While failing to add that Patrice Lumumba was opposed by the Western forces. He was opposed by the Western government. And the man who overthrew him, Mobutu, as you mentioned, was embraced by the West and even had a state visit to the United States White House. So why did the West embrace Mobutu if he was a violator of the democratic process? Why did they oppose Lumumba if he was a symbol of free and fair elections? Because it's never really been about democracy. It's been about the protection and maintenance of interests. That's what I promote on my channel. That's what I talk about on my channel. Life is not about morality. Life is not about virtue signaling about democracy. Life is about the protection and maintenance of your interests. And whatever you do to have to maintain those interests, you do that shit. That's what I tell black men about on my channel. Nigga, fuck morality. Nigga, do what you gotta do for your people. Right or wrong, good or bad. Do what is best for your people, bro. If democracy is best, do that shit. If other ways are best, do that shit. That's what it's about. That's what life is about. So don't talk to me about democracy when you have not made a single video on the leader of Gabon who violated the democratic process by overthrowing the so-called democratically elected president. And guess what? Was he condemned by the West? No. Was he attacked in the Western media? No. In fact, he just came from a state visit to France, meeting up with President Macron, and he just signed over $1 billion in economic agreements. So don't talk to me about the protection of democracy when you have one set of leaders being attacked by the West and another set of leaders being embraced by the West and they engage in the same exact behavior. That shows you it's not about democracy. It's about hypocrisy. It's about playing ball with whoever is willing to capitulate. I guarantee if Ibrahim Traore was willing to go to France and sign over $1 billion worth of economic agreements, you would see him getting praised and worshipped and venerated in the Western media. They would have been talking about Ibrahim Traore, the young visionary for Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traore about to take the Burkina Faso economy to new levels. That's what they would have been saying in the New York Times. But because he's not willing to play ball with the West, Ibrahim Traore, the young genocider, and simply because I have the nerve to speak on it and point out the hypocrisy, this black man wants to come and tell me, how dare you speak against the West when you live in the West? Nigga, I'm gonna keep speaking on the West because according to your so-called constitution that you love talking about by the so-called founding fathers, I have the freedom and liberty to say whatever the fuck I want to say on this microphone. Let's continue.
Your daddy with his coward ass is a Haitian, but the one and rich, got money, but won't do a single thing for his own country. But you coming at me talking about some white boy shit. You know why the white boys win? Because the white boys actually believe in where they come from. They invest in what they want. I would rather be on some white boy shit. I would rather be on some white boy shit. I would rather be on some white boy shit. I would rather be on some white boy shit. I would rather be on some white boy shit.
All right, we back. Now, in the last video that I put out a few days ago, in the beginning of the video, I said I was going to keep it respectful. I'm not going to talk about him personally. I'm not going to talk about his upbringing and background that might affect his psychology. I'm strictly going to have a debate about geopolitics, and I kept it at that level. He wanted to take it somewhere else. He wanted to talk about, oh, your father this and your family that and this and that and you this and that. Listen, it's not about me, brother. It's not about me. It's not about you. We're talking about geopolitics. I kept it respectful, but now I'm not going to be respectful. The reason I don't show my face is because I'm very introverted. I'm not really a social type of guy. If you see me in the street, I'm not going to want to take a picture. I'm not going to want to have a conversation. You know, I don't want you coming up to me when I'm with a young woman. You know, I'm just enjoying myself. I'm at dinner. Don't come talk to me. Oh, Neferkare, Dessalines. Oh, you my man. You my nigga. Get the fuck away from me, bro. You know, get the fuck away from me. That's my mentality. That's my personality. I'm very introverted. I'm a quiet type of guy. I'm not trying to talk to you in the street. Don't come up to me. Don't ask me for nothing in the street. I like to be able to go outside and be unknown. I like to be invisible. I like to go to the corner store. I like to go out. I like to travel. I like to, you know, do whatever I want. I like to go to the goddamn deli and get a sandwich. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be famous. I'm a very blessed young black man, but it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about the message, right? And like I said, I don't want fame. I don't want to be famous. I don't envy people who are famous. I don't envy men who are unable to go outside and go to the store and go to the mall and go to the fucking, you know, soccer park and go play ball. I like to be able to do whatever the fuck I want to do. That's why I don't show y'all my face. And going back to when he attacked my father, I don't got to brag about what my father does in the country. I don't got to brag about the economic interest my dad has around the world. That shit don't got nothing to do with my YouTube channel. I don't got to brag about that shit. I don't got nothing to prove to y'all. I don't got nothing to prove to y'all. I'm very blessed. You know, by the fate of the universe, I was born to two highly intelligent, highly disciplined, highly capable, highly driven, and highly hardworking black men and black women. Okay, I'm sorry my father is not like you. I'm sorry my father isn't like your father, currently languishing away in prison for life because he shot a motherfucker to death. I'm sorry my father is not a failure of a black man like your father. I'm sorry my aunt wasn't selling pussy on Figueroa like your aunt. I'm sorry I don't got crackheads in my family like you do. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry my father came to the country 40 years ago, started driving cabs and made something of himself within a generation. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. My mother chose an excellent candidate to be the father of her children. She did what she was supposed to do. He did what he was supposed to do. Lay down the groundwork for his children. He did what he was supposed to do. He did everything your father didn't do. Your father didn't do shit for you. 30, 40 years ago, your mother was sitting up in California, looked around and chose the bummiest nigga she could find and had you. That's not my fault, bro. That's not my fault. I've seen videos where you talk about how your father didn't even come from a troubled background. Your father came from a nice, stable home and decided to run into the streets just for fun, just for recreation, just because it was cool. You know what I mean? So listen, you don't come from no stock that could talk to me. You don't come from no family that could talk to me and lay judgment upon mine, bro. The only thing you could do, the only thing everybody in your family could do is look at my family and take notes and follow suit. That's the only thing y'all could do. I don't got nothing to learn from you, bro. I don't got nothing to learn from you. You had no mentors. You had no leadership. That's why you look up to men like Donald Trump and Mitt Romney and all them stupid niggas, because you never had no black men to venerate and look up to. That's the real reason why. Tell the truth, bro. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. You see somebody like me, I could never grow up and look up to no Donald Trump and none of these white men talking about I want to be on this white boy shit. I want to be on that black man shit. Y'all want to be on that black man shit because that's what I seen. I want to be on that black man shit. Yeah, that highly powerful, highly successful black man shit. Not that white boy shit. You can keep that white boy shit. Let's continue.
How can you say you love Burkina Faso, a place where you got like more indirect roots, right? When you don't even show love to Haiti, the place where your blood, like that's your spot. That's where your bloodline come from into America.
All right, we back. Now, in this section of the video, he says, how can you show love to Burkina Faso, but not show love to Haiti? I got about 500, 600 videos on my YouTube channel, and I would say about 250 of those videos are about Haitian history, Haitian politics, everything regarding Haiti. A good chunk of my videos is strictly knowledge about Haiti. So I've dedicated a large section of my channel straight to Haiti, right? My channel is like an ancestral altar, giving veneration, giving honor and praise and reverence to the ancestors. So don't talk to me about, Burkina Faso. I got about 20, 25 videos on Burkina Faso compared to my over 200 about Haiti. So listen, I don't know what the fuck this nigga talking about, bro. I really don't know what the fuck this nigga talking about, bro. I'm like one of the leading Haitian historians on the planet. Like, what is niggas talking about? And the reason I show love to Burkina Faso is the same reason I show love to any African nation around the world, bro. It's real Pan-Africanism over here. I really go to war for my people. I really got love for my people, bro. I don't care where you from. I don't care what flag you represent. I don't care what flag you bang. You my brother, bro. We standing together. We locking arms. We brothers in arms with this shit. When it comes to our enemies, we marching on our enemies. But we brothers in arms when it comes to this shit, bro. In fact, I got a song on the album, track 4, called March on My Enemies. So listen, hey, album in stores right now. I mean, album everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
Founding fathers overthrew the British, right? That's what they did. When they overthrew the British, they understood what could have been. They even tried to make George Washington king. But George Washington, because he's a real man, not like Ibrahim Traore, a coward, he said, I'm not going to be your king. I'll be your president. Because he understood that the economic necessity that was that of the time. He said, I'll be your president. Because he understood that absolute power corrupts absolutely. But George Washington, because he's a real man, not like Ibrahim Traore, but George Washington, because he's a real man, but George Washington, because he's a real man, but George Washington, because he's a real man.
All right, we back. Now, this is what happens when your father is languishing in state prison because, he was out here killing black men. You start talking stupid, talk about George Washington, you're a real man. George Washington was a real man. Man, listen, man. All jokes aside, black men, this is why you got to stay in your children's life, because your son is going to grow up looking up to white men, white imperialists and white colonists like George Washington, a real man who so-called had a bounty put on the head of a black woman, a so-called real man who held black women in bondage while he was president of the United States, a so-called real man. Run the footage.
On May 23rd, 1796, a newspaper ad was placed seeking the return of Ona Judge, also known as Oni, an enslaved black woman who had escaped from the President of the United States, George Washington. Judge had successfully run away 2 days earlier, fleeing Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and settling in New Hampshire. Judge was given to Martha Washington by her dad and had been a slave to the Washingtons since she was 10 years old. Judge traveled with the family to states with varying laws regarding slavery, including lengthy stays in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's Gradual Abolition Act of 1780 declared that black people enslaved by non-residents of the state were legally freed after living in Pennsylvania for 6 continuous months. To avoid enforcement of the law and prevent slaves from being legally freed, the Washingtons regularly sent their slaves out of state to restart the 6-month residency requirement. When their granddaughter Eliza Custis married, Martha Washington promised to leave Judge to the new couple as a gift in her will. Fearing lifetime enslavement, Judge resolved to run away. The night of May 21st, while the Washingtons were packing to return to Mount Vernon, Virginia, Judge made her escape from Philadelphia on a ship destined for Portsmouth, New Hampshire. She had befriended other slaves in Philadelphia, and they helped send her belongings to New Hampshire before her escape. The Washingtons tried several times to apprehend Judge, hiring slave hunters and issuing runaway ads. In the ad, she's described as, quote, a light mulatto girl, much freckled, with very black eyes and bushy black hair. She's of middle stature, slender, and delicately formed, about 20 years old, unquote. The Washingtons offered a $10 reward for Judge's return to slavery, but she evaded capture, married, and had several children, and lived for more than 50 years as a free woman in New Hampshire. She died, still free, in New Hampshire on February 25th, 1848.
Listen, man, if George Washington was a real man, I am not a real man. I'm a real black man, but if that's the criteria, if George Washington is the standard for measuring who's a real man, I can confidently say I will never be a real man. I will never hold black women in bondage. I will never place a bounty on the head of a black woman. I will never send a motherfucking, I will never sick the federal government on a black woman to bring her back to captivity. I will never do no stupid shit like that. If that's the criteria for being a real man, I will never be a real man. I just want to be a black man. I don't want to be a real man. I don't want to be a real man. I just want to be a black man. That's all I want to do. My ideology is different. My goals are different from George Washington. Like, it is what it is. If according to the Western Republican standards, George Washington was a real man, listen, Neferkare Dessalines ain't no real man. Like, it is what it is, bro. We ain't real men over here. On this channel, we not real men. I'm sorry. We never gonna be real men because we never gonna do no stupid shit like that. We never gonna do no weirdo shit like that. Keeping black women chained up inside your house and shit. I ain't doing no goofy shit like that. I'm not a real man. I'm sorry. Let's continue.
And what's best for that country is for Ibrahim Traore to have democratic elections. Talking about we can grow all our agriculture by ourselves and dumb shit like that, like this guy Traore talking about. You're setting yourself up for famine.
All right, we back. Now, in this section of the video, he tries to throw shots at Ibrahim Traore's agricultural initiatives by saying that he envisions a Burkina Faso that is self-sufficient in the arena of agriculture. And he's saying that under this policy, the Africans in Burkina Faso will starve and will go through famine because they want to be self-sufficient, right? Now, there he goes again trying to virtue signal as if Western nations ever gave a damn about Africans dying from starvation. They never gave a fuck about that because even in countries that already have solidified partnerships with the West, the people are already going through starvation. So obviously, the shit you talking about is not going to lead to prosperity, right? Because they never give a fuck about that. The Western nations only care about having access to a market to export their agricultural products. That is it, and that is all. They don't give a fuck if you starve, as long as they make the sale. That's all they care about. That's the facts. They don't want you to be independent and self-sufficient and self-reliant because they will no longer have a market to access to dump their bullshit food products, right? You can look at Haiti, for example. a consistent, tried and true partner of the West economically, right? They have a stranglehold on the agricultural economy. What has Haiti gained from being locked in with the West since the goddamn 1980s? What have we benefited from? The United States government has given Southern American farmers free and unadulterated access to the Haitian market and many other markets around the world. But what have we benefited from? The results have been catastrophic for us. It has only resulted in the destruction of our local markets, the increased poverty for families who used to depend on selling their agriculture in the local markets, increased gang violence because the children of those farmers have now become the young knucklehead gang members in the capital, increased cancer and diabetes because the food being imported from the West has been confirmed to be toxic to the human body. Take a look up on the screen. This article came out like a couple months ago. American rice exports to Haiti have unhealthy levels of arsenic, the study finds. So what we've gained is poverty, violence, cancer, and diabetes. That's what we gained. So you talking about the black man is going to starve if he doesn't depend on the white man. The black man is already starving dealing with the white man, bro. The route that you're telling us to take, it already leads to starvation and dependency on foreign powers. That's what it leads to. So you trying to tell us, oh man, Ibrahim Traoré trying to be self-sufficient is going to lead to famine. Listen, dealing with the West, dealing with France, dealing with these so-called traditional Western partners, it's already a pathway, express route to famine. So what are we talking about? We've already arrived at the destination of famine. That's why we go on a different route. But when you have your head so far up white man's ass, you can't see or hear what's going on. You got fecal matter all up in your ears and shit. Listen, bro. Listen, man. I'm not going to stay here too long, man. You know, it is what it is. Like I said, I respect the sovereignty of African nations. I'm not going to apologize or feel denigrated because my father is highly successful and he did what he was supposed to do for his son and his daughters. I'm not going to feel any type of way about that. I'm not insulted by that. For whatever reason, in the black community, especially in America, you seem to have more legitimacy when you come from humble backgrounds. When your mother wasn't shit, your father wasn't around, you grew up eating cockroaches in the cereal, you seem to have more legitimacy, right? You seem to be less legitimate when you actually come from good stock. I don't know why that is. I don't understand why that is, but I don't abide by those rules. All right. I don't abide by those rules. I'm not going to apologize because my parents did what they were supposed to do. I'm not going to apologize because my grandfather was successful and my father was successful and I'm not going to break tradition. I'm not going to apologize for that, bro. Get over it, my nigga. Get over it. Because you the same one always bragging about how you want to make a good life for your daughter. But you want to denigrate my father for making a good life for me? Listen, pick an ideology and stick to it. You flip-flop like a woman because you was raised by a woman. You look up to white men because you ain't have no black men to look up to. But that's not my fault, bro. That's not my fault. I understand what it means to be a real black man, especially in the United States, to make something of yourself when you got the odds stacked against you. I know what it's like because I've seen it happen multiple times. You ain't never seen it happen. That's why you feel you can't do nothing without the white man, because you never seen a black man around you do nothing that was worth respecting. We come from different styles, different backgrounds, different walks of life. It is what it is, baby. Anyways, man. Album in stores right now. You know, listen, I just come through and smash on these niggas real quick, but listen, we ain't stopped. Listen, album everywhere. Listen, it's on set everywhere, available right now. Classic album, 25 tracks. We out.
Spending and get it back, never gon' get attached. Got shorty spinning back, changing my number. Stacking this paper, expanding my budget. Move like a prince when I'm stepping in public. Don't run up on me, they know I'm protected. Taking my power like fucking election. Young and I'm running shit like I'm Traoré. March on my enemies like I'm immortal. March on my enemies, dance on their body. Having my baby, she wanna come ride it. Tell me she love me when I'm up inside it. Pain in my heart, I could really get violent. Pain in my heart and it's never gon' change. March on my enemies, blow out their brains. Young and I'm poppin', you know how we own it. Pick up my phone when that money be calling. Pick up my phone when that money be calling. Hang up the phone if they talking retarded. Gotta get mines, you know how we started. Shooting to kill when I go for my target. Back in the building, I'm back in my bag. Know why they tripping, I know why they mad. Fuck how they feel, cause that's none of my business. Brand new Mercedes, you know how we living. Got shorty ride, she all in my Benz. Don't be surprised when that money come in. Look at lil' mama, she know she a 10. Comes to the crib and she told me come in. Stepping inside, make it rain, make it thunder. Hop on the jet, take a trip out the country. Changing my scenery, healing my pain. Can't see my face, but they know my name. Spinning and get it back, never gon' get attached. Got shorty spinning back, changing my number. Stacking this paper, expanding my budget. Move like a prince when I'm stepping in public. Don't run up on me, they know I'm protected. Taking my power like fucking election. Young and I'm running shit like I'm Traoré. March on my enemies like I'm immortal. March on my enemies, dance on their body. Having my baby, she wanna come ride it. Tell me she love me when I'm up inside it. Pain in my heart, I could really get violent. Pain in my heart and it's never gon' change. March on my enemies, blow out their brains. Young and I'm poppin', you know how we on it. Pick up my phone when that money be calling. Get it back. Got shorty spinning back. Stacking this paper, expanding my